It's time to turn off your phones.
Yeah.
Please. We were very fortunate today to have someone with us who knows everything there is about the healthcare here. So pay attention, ask lots of questions at the end. And
No pressure.
pardon me?
No pressure. What did you get her?
Oh, no pressure. No, I'm going to answer the questions.
I'll let her.
So I also wanted to mention that Cassie Gotelli has been here for a while, and she's going to give those details about the length of time. I'm also, for those who may know and don't know, Kathy Kelly. I'm on the Wellness Committee. There's quite a few of us representing the Wellness Committee here today. And what Cassie's background is that she came to us from Life Care Services. And you may be familiar with that, having seen that and heard that title, company. And Chuck Force is also part of Life Care Services. Originally, Cassie came from Fort Lauderdale and then opted to move to cooler temperatures, enrolling at Alma, Michigan. It's Alma College in Michigan. And she earned her bachelor's degree with a double major in psychology with a focus on gerontology and dance with a concentration in classical ballet. So we hope you don't have too many ballet questions. She completed her master's here in Texas at Texas Tech. Cassie holds dual licensure as a nursing home administrator in Texas and Connecticut. So she really did want to get it out of Florida. And while in Southbury, Connecticut, she was recognized with industry honors, including U.S. News and World Report Best Nursing Home and Best Workplace for Aging Services. Here at Westminster, Cassie has maintained and improved healthcare centers 5-star rating and received honors and industry awards for long-term care and short-term rehabilitation. Cassie's also a certified dementia practitioner. Welcome, Cassie. She's going to tell us about the other personal side of her life, and she doesn't work here 80 hours a week. So thank you, everybody. Thanks for coming. Hold your questions.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you all hear me okay? All right. So I'm Cassie Gotelli. I used to be Cassie Haley. Got married. And I have 2 beautiful children. I have a 2-year-old boy and an 8-month-old girl. I'm a classically trained ballet dancer. The initials by my name, MSHA, so I have my master's in healthcare administration, and then I'm a licensed nursing facility administrator. So that's a little bit about me. I have worked here for 5 years. Previous to that, I worked here 9 years ago. So I worked here as an administrator in training, and Chuck Borsch trained me to be an administrator. Life Care Services said, please go to Connecticut and run your own building. Make sure that I was qualified to do so. So I ran my own building for 3 years. And then Chuck asked me to come back and be the nursing home administrator here at the Arbor. And I have been here ever since, and I hope I never leave. I hope I retire here. So today we're going to talk about the health center and what to expect with a health center admission. Okay, and then I will leave time at the end for questions. So the healthcare center is broken up into 2 floors. First floor is our rehabilitation unit. So that is where all of our rehab stays are. And what I mean by rehab is Medicare and short-term stays. Okay, and then the second floor is where we have our life care residents, so our long-term life care residents that are living in our health center, and our private pay residents from outside the community. So Westminster residents always have priority. So I never want anyone to worry that we're going to run out of beds, because we do take residents from the community, but we always have beds available for Westminster residents. Y'all have the priority here at the Arbor. Okay, make sense? All right. So how how do we make sure we have room for everybody? How do we know what's going on in the health center? How do we know what's going on in independent living and assisted living if anyone needs admission to our health center? So every morning we have a 9:30 meeting, and during that meeting we have our admissions radar. And that admissions radar is who needs to come to the health center. And so at this meeting, Robin, the Director of Resident Services, and IL, and Joe, the Director of Assisted Living, they go to that meeting, and we talk about who's on the admission radar, who may need to come to the health center for a short-term stay, for a long-term stay, who might need a little bit more support. We also go over any planned procedures or surgeries. So you all might tell Robin that you have a surgery coming up and you might need skilled services. We get told that information, and you go on our admissions radar, or your loved one goes on our admissions radar, so that we know we should have a bed for you. But we also are ready for those emergency admissions as well. We also have a weekly navigator meeting, so every Friday we go over all this information that we went through during the week to make sure we haven't missed anything, or if we need to add somebody or take somebody off. Maybe the surgery went really well and you don't need our health center, things like that. So we always know who's coming and who's not, and then we have the emergency admissions as well. So, the admissions process. If you go to the hospital, after your hospitalization, you may qualify for a Medicare admission. And to qualify for a Medicare admission, you have to have 3 midnights in the hospital. So you have to be there 3 overnights. That qualifies you for a Medicare admission and to come to our health center under a Medicare Part A stay. If you have managed care, so if you have a managed Medicare, if you have that, we have to get what's called a pre-authorization. And so we work with the managed care company and say, so-and-so wants to come to our health center. We give them all of the medical information as to why you're in the hospital, and they give us an authorization to say, yes, this person can come stay in the health center. So a Medicare Advantage plan does not require 3 midnights. Medicare Part A does require 3 midnights, okay? Most managed care plans do have an out-of-network benefit. We are out-of-network with all managed care plans, and that's why we have to get the pre-authorization. If you don't have a qualifying stay or you don't go to the hospital, you will come under your life care contract. We can directly admit you from assisted living or independent living right into the health center. So your life care contract guarantees you a room in the health center. If you're on hospice services or your loved one is on hospice services, those hospice services will continue if you want them to. So we are able to have that vendor, that hospice come in and take care of you in our health center. And admissions require time, paperwork, and manpower. It is an extensive process. So when you come to the health center, I always say you're staying at least a week, so 7 days. Okay, so it's not an in and out. We can't do 1 day here, 2 days there. It's at least 7 days to make sure that we can care for you and get you stronger and back to where you want to be. So the admissions process. The admission contract is signed with our admission coordinator, and her name is Corrine. It is 88 pages. It is very long. And the reason it is that long is because there are a lot of regulations we have to abide by. So, if we can have it signed beforehand, it's great. We will send it to you. We do it via DocuSign so that you don't have to sign 80 pages because that would really hurt your hand. But we will send it to you ahead of time so that you can read over it and sign it, and we can answer any questions for you. We also have our physicians here in the health center. So Dr. Michael Kroll, he's part of Austin Geriatric Specialists, AGS, and he is our medical director and one of our physicians in the health center. We also have Dr. Michael Pellegrini, he's our other physician. So we have 2 physicians, and then we have 2 nurse practitioners, and they are full-time in our health center. So Mindy Coakley, she's a Westminster employee. She oversees all residents on the 2nd floor. And then if she has been overseeing your care and assisted living, she will follow you on the 1st floor as well. But on the first floor, where our rehab unit is, we have Raquel Gonzalez, and she is an employee of Austin Geriatric Specialists, AGS, and she works with us full-time and with Dr. Kroll to oversee the resident care on the first floor. So we have designated and dedicated nurse practitioners for both floors. Medication. So when you come in, if you're coming from the hospital or independent living or assisted living, we will get a medication list with your medications and any treatment orders. That has to be signed, reviewed by a doctor or a nurse practitioner. So that's one of the first things we're going to do is get those medications reviewed and ordered and into our health center. On a Medicare Part A stay or a Medicare Advantage stay, your medications are paid for by Westminster, so there is no cost to you. Everything is covered by us. If you're under your life care benefit, it just goes through your insurance like it normally would, but we do require that you use one of two pharmacies, Omnicare or Tarrytown Pharmacy. And the reason we have to require this is because the pharmacy has to be able to provide 24-hour services and be able to deliver medications, which HEB cannot do. So if you're using HEB or Walgreens or CVS, we're going to have to transition you during your stay to Omnicare or Tarrytown. Okay? Medication times are set based on the orders received. So when does the med have to be given? It might have to be given in the morning or night. It'll be based on your location on the hallway. And if you want your medication given at a certain time, we will do that as well. So if there's a med that we say we'll give you in the morning, but you say you want it at night, we will do everything in our power to make that happen for you. These are all the nursing assessments we do when you come into the health center. So when you come in, it is a very long process. And so you're going to get tired of us because we're going to be doing assessments all day long on you. Okay, so these are just some of the assessments that we do when you come to the health center. And that's why I say it's not an in and out process. It's long, it's tedious, we want to get to know you. We want to know your likes and dislikes. We want to make sure we're going to care for you properly. So our nurses are going to do these assessments with you in the health center. So during the admission process, we're going to give you orientation to your room, to the unit, where's the dining room, where's the salon, your call light, the bathroom. We're going to give you everything you need to know about staying in the health center. And part of that admissions process is going to be your baseline care plan. So your baseline care plan means, how do we know how to take care of you? What are your needs? What are your preferences? Why are you with us? Did you fall and break something? That's going to be in your care plan. How do we make sure we're caring for you properly? And so we're going to review that baseline care plan with you and make sure it has all your preferences, your wants, your needs, your medical needs. Everything is going to be on it. And we're going to review that with you upon admission to make sure we've not missed anything. Part of that baseline care plan is also your medications. When you come from the hospital, they change your medications, right? Sometimes they make changes, sometimes they don't. But we want to make sure you're aware of all the medication changes or things that have changed after the doctor has reviewed it. Okay, so part of that review is going to be your care plan and then your medications. And then you're also going to get therapy assessments. So after you've had all those lovely nursing assessments done, therapy is going to come in over the course of a few days and do therapy assessments with you. Physical therapy, occupational therapy, or speech therapy. And I'll go through those a little bit later, what each of those will do. So our team members. We have our nursing associates. So our charge nurses, we do wear uniforms in the health center. Our charge nurses are blue scrub tops. They're going to be RNs, registered nurses, or LVNs, licensed vocational nurses. On the second floor, we have two hallways, east and west. There's a nurse on each hallway. And on the first floor, during day shift and evening shift, and what I mean by that is 6 to 2 or 2 to 10, we have two nurses on that hallway. And the reason we have two nurses is because the acuity is higher. It's our rehab unit. So that's where we have people coming in and out to get better and then to go home. So we do have 2 nurses on that unit and then 1 nurse overnight. We have a medication aide, so those are going to be the individuals giving your meds while you stay with us. We're going to have 1 on each hallway, so you have 1 on each east and west and 1 on first floor for day and evening shifts. We don't have 1 overnight because people don't typically get meds overnight, and if they do, the nurse will provide it to you. And then our certified nursing assistants. So those individuals are the ones that are going to help if you need assistance going to the bathroom, getting dressed, getting your food, your breakfast and lunch, anything like that. On the second floor, we have 3 on each hallway. And then overnight, we have 3 total. So there's 1 on each side and 1 that floats back and forth. And then on the first floor, we have 4 during the day, 4 in the evening, and 2 overnight. Okay? So we have one of the highest staffing ratios in Texas. It is actually a very high staffing ratio, and I'm thankful to Chuck for allowing us to have such a high staffing ratio because it helps us care for our residents appropriately. So I thank him for that. And then these are some of the team members that you will meet when you're in the health center. So we have a new director of nursing. Her name is Tissa Matthew. We have 2 assistant director of nursing. So Cheryl is the assistant director of nursing for the second floor, and Kevin Glue is the assistant director of nursing for the first floor. We have a dietary manager, so she'll go over your dietary preferences with you, your needs, your wants. Her name is Maribel. We have 2 activities associates. We have Najia, she's our activity director, and then we have Monica, who's our activities assistant. And then we have social services, and her name is Haley. So those are some of the individuals you will meet during your stay with us in the health center. So these are the therapy services. So when you come to us on a rehabilitation stay, or maybe you're with us long-term in the health center, and you need some therapy services, whether it's a Part A stay or Medicare Part B. You can get therapy services on either one. You have physical therapists and assistants, and they concentrate on lower body and gross motor skills, such as walking. Occupational therapists and assistants concentrate on upper body and fine motor skills like eating or dressing. And then you have speech therapists, and they concentrate on cognition, memory, and or swallowing. So it's not always just about talking. Sometimes we get the misconception that speech therapy is just for verbalizing, for talking, but they actually work on concentration, cognition. If you're having trouble eating, they'll help with that, and on memory. Things to bring. So in the health center, we want to make sure you feel at home. You're here with us. We want to make you feel at home. We want you to get better, and we want you to go home. So things you might want to bring: a television. Some of our rooms do have televisions, so if you're with us on a Medicare Part A stay on the first floor, those rooms have televisions because we don't expect you to bring a TV with you. But if you're with us long term, we ask that you bring a television. Maybe your favorite chair or recliner that you have in your apartment, so EVS will bring over that chair for you to be comfortable. Toiletries. We will provide you toiletries, but you might have that special lotion or shampoo that you really love. Bring that with you. Make it feel more like home. But we do have those available for you. Depending on your length of stay, things to make you and your room feel like home. You have a favorite quilt, maybe some pictures, maybe a bedspread, whatever is going to make you feel better. We want you to feel like home. We don't want you to feel like you're in a hospital setting. Clothes, and enough for at least a week. So when you come over, Robin will help, Joe will help. They will help bring over clothes. Loved ones can bring over clothes, but we ask that you bring clothes for at least a week because laundry is done once a week. We can do it twice a week sometimes, but we try to limit it to once a week because we have 85 residents that we take care of. That's a lot of laundry. Things not to bring. So we try to keep everybody's belongings safe. We try to make sure nothing gets lost, but we are a healthcare center. There's vendors coming in and out. There's maintenance coming in and out. Leave expensive valuables or sentimentals at home, because sometimes they do get lost, and we don't want that to happen. So things, like my ring, I would leave at home. So things that are really, really important, that are tiny, that could get lost, we say leave at home. If you want to bring them, you can. We just recommend you don't. So care plans. How do we know how to take care of you? We talked about the baseline care plan. Now we're going to talk about the big care plan. So when you come into the health center, within the first 2 weeks, you're going to have what's called a care plan meeting. In that meeting, you're going to go over, how long will I stay? Am I staying short term or am I staying long term? What do I need to go home? What's going to make me successful if I go home? And how am I doing? Am I making progress? What do I need to work on? And so during those meetings, reception will call to set up the appointment. So they will call you or they will call a loved one to set up that appointment. The family, you can have family attend either in person or on the phone if you choose to, or it can just be you. The therapy department will be there to go over how you're doing in physical therapy, occupational therapy, or speech therapy. Nursing will attend, so one of the assistant directors of nursing, they will attend to go over your nursing needs. How are you doing nursing-wise, your medications, anything like that. Dietary will attend. They're going to go over how you're eating. They're going to go over your weight. Are there any concerns? And then if you're in independent living or assisted living, Robin or Joe are going to attend as well. So they'll attend if you're going to go back home to make sure we have everything prepared for you when you go home and that they know what's going on as well. And it's also an opportunity to ask questions and voice concerns. Whatever questions you may have, if we did not answer them, that's the time to get those questions answered and to voice concerns. I don't want you to wait to voice concerns at that meeting. I would rather you tell me right away, but it's also an opportunity to voice concerns there, and we will make sure we get them answered for you. Meals. So in the health center, we are required to give you 3 meals a day, regardless if you eat them or not. Per regulation, I have to give you those 3 meals. It is a requirement that I provide them to you. You don't have to eat them, but I have to give them to you. So we do have 2 dining rooms. We have 1 on each floor. We always encourage you to go to the dining room and eat with others. But you can always get a room tray and eat in your room if you want to. That is always an option. So we have our times listed per regulation, 8 a.m., 12 p.m., and 5 p.m. But we do have dining flexibility. And what I mean by that is you can come anytime to get breakfast from 7 to 9. You can get lunch from 11 to 1. And you can get dinner from 5 to 7. So there's flexibility in your dining options. We want to be resident center. We want to make sure we provide you dinner, breakfast, lunch, or dinner when you want it. You can also come at 4. We will always accommodate your wants and needs. We always have snacks available, so in the evening we will come around and provide you a snack. But we also have our country kitchens. So in the health center, there's a country kitchen on 1st and 2nd floor, and there are always snacks available there. So if you're hungry, if you want something to eat, it's stocked with ice cream, juices, sandwiches, fruits, anything that you want. You can also ask a nursing associate to get you those snacks, and we will provide them to you. So are you staying or going home? That's discussed by you and the interdisciplinary team during your care plan. You have to be safe to go home. So we cannot discharge you if it's unsafe. We have to make sure you're going to be successful when you go home. So to make you successful, sometimes that includes home modifications. So we might do what's called a home assessment. Therapy is going to take you back to your apartment and make sure there's no home modifications needed. Does the rug have to come up so that you don't slip? Does a grab bar have to be put in the shower? Maybe a shower chair? maybe the couch needs to move a certain way to make you successful. Whatever it is, we will make sure that your home is set up so that you're successful when you go back. How much of any additional care is needed? So when you go back, we might say, yes, you can go back, or your loved one can go back, but you need to have 4 hours of care, 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the evening. So we might give you those recommendations and say, yes, you can go home, but you need to have care in place. Sometimes we recommend it too, just so that you have a little transition from the health center back to your IL apartment. We might say it might be great for you to have some care just as a transition, and then you can cut it in 2 weeks when you feel strong enough and safe enough to be on your own. Recommendations like that will also happen. So upon discharge, you're safe to go home. Woo, you're going home. We will either have you on home health services, and what I mean by that is you'll have home health follow you home, so you'll have a nurse that visits with you a couple times a week, once a week. You'll also have some therapy services. So you'll have outpatient therapy service if deemed necessary. Wellness checks, so when you first go home, Robin will schedule some wellness checks to make sure everything is okay. How are you doing? Do you feel strong? Do you feel safe? Do you feel confident going back to your apartment? And then, as I said, private duty services are always an option. So you can always hire someone to come stay with you, to be with your loved one, to be with you a couple hours a day, maybe just to help with meals, maybe to help bathing, whatever it may be, so that you feel successful when you go back to your apartment. If you're staying with us permanently, so if you're going to stay in the health center permanently, Robin will send you a move-out packet with all the instructions for vacating your independent living apartment, okay? And then, I'll go through this later, but if you're in a private room in our health center, you will be moved to the semi-private room waiting list. And that is because in your contract, you are guaranteed a semi-private room. If you would like a private room, you can absolutely have one if one is available, but it is an extra charge. And I have that later on extra costs when you're in the health center. So there they are, additional costs if you choose to stay in a private room. So a private room, you have your room and a bathroom. And in a semi-private room, you have your own room, but you share a bathroom with one other person. Okay, so that's the difference. If you want a private room to yourself, it's an extra $124 a day. So that would be the difference if you want a private room. A semi-private room is included in your contract. There's no additional cost to you. Meals, so we talked about how I'm required to feed you 3 times a day. So I have to give you 2 additional meals. That's $450 a month. Okay, so that's going to be an extra charge if you're staying with us permanently or you're on your life care benefit. And then you have supplies. So supplies include gloves, wipes, briefs, bed pads, anything like that. So our supplies will run at most currently $190 a month. Okay, so that's an additional cost. Then you have your supplements. So your supplements at most will run about $50, $60 a month if you're on things like Ensure or 2Cal. And then our wound dressing. So if you have wounds, and we do the dressing changes, those are $5 each every time we change it for a minor wound, and $10 for a major wound. Major wounds we don't typically have. I've never charged one. Usually it's $5. Okay? So those are the additional costs. Otherwise, your life care benefit and what you pay in your apartment follows you to the health center under your life care contract. So our goals and wishes for you. We want you to be as independent as possible, and we want you to go home. That's our goal. Our goal is to always get you back home. If we can't get you back home, we're going to take the best care of you that we can. We want you to be safe. We want you to feel at home. And we want you to feel cared for. So in the health center, we are all about resident-centered care. What's going to make you as successful as possible? What are your wants? What are your wishes? If you want to have your coffee every morning with International Delight Vanilla Creamer, I'm going to make that happen because that's what I want. I don't want the coffee that's served. I want coffee with International Delight Vanilla Creamer. So if that's what you want, I will get that for you. But that's what I mean. We want to make sure that you have what you want to feel as comfortable as possible in our health center. So thank you for allowing us to care for you. This is my contact information, so Robin will post this on the portal so that you have it. If you want to contact me, that is also my direct phone number. So please feel free anytime if you have questions to reach out to me, and I will answer those for you. And now I will take questions.
You might recognize she's a brunette now.
I am a brunette now.
What's
I don't
your
have an updated
questions?
picture.
No, anybody? Okay.
It will be. It's not there yet, and Robin's out today, but it will be on the portal.
If you have day surgery and do not require a hospital stay, but you do need someone, some care for a day or two, what are your options then? Because it sounds like you cannot go to health services.
You can.
Or you
So
can.
if you have a day surgery and they say, or you feel that you need care afterwards,
Mhm.
you come to the health center under your life care benefit.
Okay, even if it's just for a day or two?
It's usually typically longer than that, but we can make it happen if we need to.
Okay. So, I was kind of thrown when
Yes.
you said 7 days.
Usually, so an admission takes at least 48 hours. So if you go home that quickly, we won't even finish the admission process. But we can take care of you for 2 days. But because of all the manpower to make sure you're going to be successful going home and taken care of and recover well, people typically stay 7 days.
Okay, thank you.
I'm still a little bit confused about people who come in from the community,
Okay.
whether they go to the second floor or the first floor.
Okay.
Because somebody that I know was on the first floor recently, but she wasn't a resident. So why was she on the first floor?
So the first floor is for rehabilitation. So she came in from the outside to rehab and go home. Now, if we don't have any room on the second floor, she will also go to the first floor.
Okay. thank
I
you.
mean, so, and just, we split it up like that because the rehab gym is on the first floor, and so they can go straight through. We also have, our nurses are a little bit different. Their skill set is different to facilitate the higher acuity that we have on the first floor, but both floors are capable of taking care of the same people. We just have it split up that way.
Thank you.
It's not time to be shy.
I noticed on the list with all the evaluations that you do when someone first comes in, one of them was elopement evaluation.
Yes.
Is that what it sounds like?
It is exactly what it sounds like. I'll go back to. So the elopement evaluation, we do have some people that have had cognitive declines that are at risk for leaving the facility without us knowing. And so we have to do an evaluation to make sure you're not gonna just hike it onto the highway, onto MOPAC, and us not find you. So it is a requirement that we do an elopement evaluation to make sure that you're gonna be safe in our care.
So it's not romantic at all then?
It is not.
Hello, anybody else? Oh, okay.
Can family members sign the 80-page admission
They
packet?
can.
DocuSign?
Yes, so a family member can sign on your behalf. If you have a power of attorney, they can also sign for you, because it is a lot of work, and you are going to be tired if you're coming to our health center. You're coming to our health center because you've had something happen, right? And so usually we do have family members sign on your behalf the admission packet.
I want to understand the big picture.
Okay?
I went to the presentation from Joe on what is in the Carlisle,
Okay.
and I understand what used to be in the Windsor,
Okay.
which was all of it almost, and now it's broken up into 2 different buildings. I also understand the word arbor, and
Okay.
if it's still appropriate, and kind of what I think is that you have the what I used to call skilled nursing,
Yes.
which I think used to be on two, used to be on two. It's now on 1 and 2, and it has now included rehab.
Yes, so rehab was always a part of skilled nursing. Skilled nursing, we are called the Arbor at Westminster. So when you hear the Arbor is the health center, skilled nursing, first and second floor.
But
Always
not what's in the Carlisle.
not what's in the Carlisle.
Thank you.
So the Arbor is the health center, first and second floor. The first floor of the health center used to be memory support. The second floor was rehab and long-term stays. Now, the health center is rehabilitation and long-term residence with us. Memory support has moved to the Carlisle under assisted living. So assisted living, there's two parts. There's memory support and then traditional assisted living, and that's what's in the Carlisle.
Thank you.
Do you require masks for visitors?
So at this point, we do not require masks. However, if we do have a COVID outbreak in the health center, we will require them. And a COVID outbreak is one person. That's an outbreak in the health center, that's the regulation. So if we have one resident positive for COVID, that is considered an outbreak and everybody goes in masks. And then signs go up in the health center that say you are required to wear a mask when you come in. You can also, it's an option right now, so if you feel like you want to wear it, you can, but we only require it when there's an outbreak.
So if you're having a long-term stay at the health center, you have the choice of Omnicare or Tarrytown Pharmacy?
That is correct. So the question was, if you're staying long-term in the health center, you have the option of two pharmacies, Omnicare or Tarrytown.
Thank you so much, Cassie.
Absolutely.
and
Thank you for
all
having me.
attending. Thank you. There'll be no exam for this group.